On this episode of Bizarro System Integrators Weekly, everything is exactly the opposite of what you're used to. Intel is now the performance leader, and AMD Ryzen is now the budget value option. All that and more
on this episode of System Integrators Weekly. Let's go, nerds! This episode of System Integrators Weekly is sponsored by CDKDeals.
CDKDeals is an online marketplace that specializes in discounted, genuine Microsoft licenses and game keys for several different platforms.
For the month of November, my viewers are getting the biggest discount of the year of 35% off with code BRAY25. That's Windows 10 Pro for only $13.60.
Let's get a Windows key. We'll opt for Windows 10 Pro for the enhanced security features. CDKDeals offers an OEM license for a fraction of the price of a retail key. The difference with an OEM key is that you can only use it on one system, but that should be all you need. You will need to make sure you either have Windows 10 Pro already installed or you perform a fresh installation, since OEM keys cannot be used to upgrade from Windows 10 Home if that's what you have installed currently. Here I entered BRAY25 to get 25% off. You can also click where it says Use Activity Discount for a small additional discount. Pay with your method of choice, and once the payment goes through, click View Keys/Codes. Click Get the Key and copy it. Then just go to your Windows search, type in ACT, there it is. Click Activation Settings. My Windows install was already activated, so I'll be replacing that key, but yours should just say Activate Windows. Paste in the key, click Next, and activate, and you're done. Thank you, CDKDeals, for continuing to support the channel.
Hello everyone and welcome to Bizarro System Integrators Weekly. And yes, everything has indeed been flipped on its head. Or at least it has a horizontal flip. It's honestly a little disorienting. Hang on. Oh, Jesus. Oof. I do not recommend that. If the intro and the ad already made you bored, timestamps are in the bottom of the description below, and you can feel free to use those to navigate around the video. But I do have a lot to say about Intel 12th Gen and everything that's going on and all the reviews that were released. So if you want to know why I say the things later on that I'm going to say, stick around and let's chat about it. All across the world, well, at least all across the internet, which to us is pretty much the world, Intel fanboys are rejoicing because there are benchmarks that show their favorite processors above the much hated AMD processors. But if you've been paying attention, you'll see that there's a lot of media coverage out there, benchmarks, testing, all kinds of stuff where Intel indeed has taken the lead. It's more complicated than that. As you keep watching these videos or reading articles, there's just so many different testing methodologies that it's almost impossible to get a read on what is actually going on here. In one video, you'll find that they chose not to use DDR5 at all and stuck with DDR4. Fair enough. Then you'll find one where they didn't use Windows 11. They just used Windows 10. Okay. And then there's some where they only used Windows 11. All right. But then again, honestly, all of these different snapshots and viewpoints are good. Because if you were telling yourself, you know what, I'm not even going to mess with DDR5 because it just came out and it took a long time for DDR4 to mature to the point that it is now, where you can get, great frequency with great timings and cast latency at a great value. That takes time. It's very expensive right now. And the motherboards, there's no budget Z690s. It's like none. I mean, sort of, but not really. And it honestly takes a while to wrap your head around all of it. So you have to sort of back up for a moment and stop looking at the bar graphs and start thinking about value, like real value. The biggest news seems to have been with the i5 12600K, or KF as well, because it's handily beating in several benchmarks the 5800X, where it was supposed to have been aimed at the 5600X. When you look at it though, it has 6 performance cores and 4 E cores, or efficiency cores, so that's technically more cores, even though 4 of them are slower cores. And then, but also, the DDR5 plays a role, but Wasn't the latency supposed to be really bad? How are they overcoming this? Honestly, the downside here though is if you want to get the most out of it, you're not just looking at the price of a processor. They're talking about how it's only $10 more, $10 or $20 more than a 5600X, but it gets so much better performance. But the 5600X uses DDR4, which is much cheaper. So does the 5800X. And if you're looking at a DDR5 setup, you're not just looking at buying a processor. You're looking at the whole platform is more expensive. Memory and motherboard. So honestly, it starts to make it look as if, say, the 12700K or 12900K are a better value, because as the overall price of the system grows, then the margin of increase in price on DDR5 and on the motherboard shrink, and it's a lower percentage of your overall. It's honest. Okay, look here. I'm gonna ask myself a question, and then I'm gonna give you the answer. Hey, Braithorn. Yeah, what's up? Is it better to go with the new hotness with the 12th gen Intel, or should you stick with established performance from Ryzen for a lower price? Well, I'm gonna tell you right now. I don't know. My suggestion, and I know I may yeet a bunch of my viewers right now out of this video, and I'm sorry about that. Safe landing. If you're looking to buy a computer right now, and you're considering 12th gen Intel, wait a bit. When I say a bit, I mean, give it a couple of months. You don't have to, obviously, but only a few memory kits have come out. There's only a few coolers, CPU coolers, that are certified to work with the LGA 1700 socket with the IHS. It's elongated. Older cold plates on even tower coolers and all-in-one liquid coolers don't make enough contact with the IHS, and there's some thermal issues. They got to work that out. More products need to come out. All the ones that have come out are premium, and they're quite expensive. Asus has an ROG AIO that was shipped out to all these media outfits as a media kit. So, I mean, I'm not there yet. I didn't get any of that. That's my problem. I can't test any of this. I'm just watching this. I was just waiting. I had no inside info on this. I'm in the same boat you are. Just look right here. Look down there. I don't have 7 million subscribers or 700,000 subscribers or 70,000 subscribers. I'm just over 7,000. I don't have that kind of clout, and I'm not someone that they just send free stuff to get my opinion on it. I'm still building my benchmarking methodology with the system iBUYPOWER sent me, which is why it's taking so long, because I don't have pre-established graphs and charts and a bunch of benchmarks to compare it to. It's my first system review on YouTube that I'm working on. So, if you're here now, welcome. You're here at the start of me doing all of that. Now, the cooler situation with 12th gen is a real problem, because if you don't have good cooling and they run kind of hot, you could probably skate by just overbuilding, right? Getting more of a cooler than you need for like a 12600K or whatever. No. They run really hot because they use a ton of power in pursuit of beating Zen 3, Ryzen 5000 series. I mean, they went all out. They pulled out all the stops to take this hybrid technology and just push its performance. Literally pulled out all the stops, which, by the way, comes from church pipe organs, like the giant pipe organs. There are stops that stop it from making sound. You pull out all the stops, you get a lot of noise, whatever, that you don't care. Anyway, Jay's 2 Cents released a video where he started it off. I love this guy. He's so genuine. He started it off by saying there's a bunch of comments, people talking about, oh, it uses so much more power. This is from people who don't understand power usage. And then he went to test it and he was like, oh God, it does use a lot more power than Ryzen does. Good Lord. And he's just straight up about it. He's like, no. Actually, it is true. Look at this. So yeah, Jay, you're awesome, man. Thank you for being so genuine on YouTube, where a lot of people aren't. That's what I'm aiming for, and it's inspired by you, buddy. Yeah, sorry, just fanboying out there. But the combination of the extra heat being put out, because if you use more wattage, more power, it's gonna generate more heat. And that needs to be cooled efficiently. And you have to remember that it will heat your room more and this was mentioned in one of those videos, it's gonna heat your room more. It's gonna use more power, which is gonna cost you more money. You're gonna run your AC more because your room where you have your computer is gonna get hotter. That heat goes somewhere. It doesn't just disappear into the ether. It goes into your ambient temperature. Your ambient temperature rises, your cooling in your system is less effective. It is a genuine problem and something that needs to be considered. That's why effective cooling is important, and that's why it's a little rough that they just said, you know what? Unlimited power. All right, cool. Not good to associate yourself with that dude. He did some bad things, but still, I see what you're doing. There's another reason to hold off, to just wait a bit. Ryzen 5000 series is going to get a refresh with 3D V-Cache, and it is going to make a difference. They're estimating about a 15% performance lift. So, if you're thinking about a Ryzen system right now, it's not a bad idea to get something with like a 5600X or even a 3600, because those new processors will fit into AM4 socket, and you don't have to get it right away. You can give it a year or so. They'll still be manufacturing them. Things are really heating up, and this is why I wanted Intel to knock it out of the park, and they did. I'm gonna show you some 12th gen systems. I'm gonna try to show you, because now that AMD is more on the value side of things, we'll look at some systems under $2,000 or around that price, up to $2,500 for Ryzen, and we'll look at, you know, around that or above for Intel. The one reason I would say not to wait is if you need something now, if you need something for school or for a Christmas gift or something like that. If that's the case, then yeah, go for it. Now, before I move on, some disclaimers, okay? These are especially important right now. This is being recorded for November 7th, 2021. Any pricing and availability that you see right here may change, and it usually changes daily. So if you're looking for something that I talk about here, or you click a link that I put in the description below and it doesn't go to the system I talked about and they don't have it in stock, I am sorry. This stuff fluctuates pretty frequently. Now, the second part is a lot of this is opinion based, and opinions are all over the place right now, mine included. So if you disagree, that's totally cool. Let me know in the comments. Let me know in the Discord and the tech discussions channel that links in the description. Let me know on stream. Yes, I stream on Twitch every Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday at 8 p.m. Central. I do apologize for taking Sunday off because of the Saturday Halloween stream and for missing Tuesday's stream. Some stuff did come up. It's one of the first streams I've missed without an announcement in the over a year and a half that I've been streaming. So, sorry about that. It won't happen again, I promise. Anyway, but yeah, every Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday, go to twitch.tv/Brayathorn at around 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, and let's chat about it. Or if you want help one-on-one with your own pre-built gaming PC or whatever PC, content creation, workstation, whatever you want, jump in the queue by typing an !join in the chat, and I'll help you out. Let's get right into it and look first at some what I generally recommend if you're in a hurry, and that's iBUYPOWER same-day ready systems. When it comes to same-day ready systems, there are a couple things to remember. First off, they're already built and boxed up and ready to ship. They're ready same day that you order them, right? So you cannot customize these. Many of them in the lower price brackets have bad airflow. However, I can verify on the system that I have here that you can just pull off the front panel with all the glass, and right behind it is a mesh cover over the fans. You just leave that off and get amazing airflow. There are going to be some other tips and tricks for optimizing your same-day ready system in the video I'm going to release when I release it, because it's taking a long time because I have to film everything. The other thing to take note of is there's a reason these are priced the way they're priced. There are corners cut on here. You're not going to have a top-tier motherboard. You're not going to have, some of these just don't have Wi-Fi, and you got to pay attention to that when you're looking to purchase it. Look through the features. And some of them, many of them, have a case that looks nice, but is on the inside fairly budget. And you don't know what kind of GPU you're gonna get, which AIB partner it's from. These also come with a 3 years labor, 1 year part warranty. If you wanna get it any higher than that, it can get pretty pricey. So I am looking at this a day in advance. And as of now, it's saying delivered by Wednesday, November 10th, but for you, it might be a day later. Or whenever you watch this video, it'll be about a week and a half or a week after that you would get the system. So let's take a look at these. These are starting at around $900. Now, anything that these two that are $899 and $999 will not qualify for the $50 off coupon, which is just RDY, by the way, in coupon code RDY. That's how you get the $50 off. But these don't qualify for that. And they're also fairly modest. Now, the 1650 Super is much better than a standard 1650, but that's about all that can be said about it, unless you're only gaming at 1080p and playing some pretty light games with lower settings, and then it'll run pretty smoothly. Other than that, if you're expecting to go ultra graphics in Cyberpunk and 1440p, you might want to raise your budget just a little bit, because this is not going to do that. But otherwise, they're great entry-level gaming systems here, and not a bad option. For some reason, on the Intel, they went Windows 10, and on the Ryzen system, they went with Windows 11. Even with all the stuff going on about Ryzen getting a performance decrease through Windows 11, which is supposed to have been fixed, although a new issue came up that if you change your Ryzen processor to another one, the issues come back with the performance loss. But as of now, as long as you get if you get Windows 11, and just don't get Windows 11 if you can avoid it, you can just install Windows 10 on this for like $15. You saw my sponsor. Go back, watch the sponsor. You can just buy a key for Windows 10, install it on a flash drive, and put it on there, and just reload Windows completely. Then you have Windows 10. That goes for every system that would come with Windows 11. Just over $13 right now in the month of November for Windows 10 Pro. It's a great deal. Anyway, but let's so either one of these is a decent option if your budget's under $1,000. Honestly, you have a lot of trouble finding a better deal than this, unless you go to like an OEM, which you shouldn't. If you want to know why I don't recommend OEM systems, watch David Does Tech Stuff. Okay? Just watch his channel. He reviews a lot of OEM systems, and what they do to those systems is just downright cruel. Proprietary parts, proprietary motherboards, proprietary cases, proprietary power supplies, everything is just made by them, for them, and you can't just buy parts to fix it if something goes wrong. Basically, if it breaks, it goes to a landfill. Or you buy Dell's warranty, which they will sell you, whether you like it or not, if you're not careful. Just don't do it. Don't just go with something from a system integrator that uses universal standard ATX parts. I know it seems like you could just get a better GPU if you go there, but that GPU is proprietary to them, custom to them. The coolers on them usually are terrible. They're like the lowest binned chips, because that way NVIDIA sells them the chips cheaper, or AMD does, and it's not pretty. Okay, so then you can get, actually I would, if you're around the $1,000 budget, I would try to stretch it to $1,200, because this system right here with the 11400F, I know it's not 12th gen, I know, but 11400F, which is a good gaming processor, good budget gaming processor, and a 1660 Super, which is a big step up from the 1650 Super, okay? Great 1080p gaming GPU here, and both of these, by the way, like you could stream on this system right here. You could stream on this. Don't run a million programs. Don't have a bunch of fancy graphics on your overlay and your transitions and all that. Don't do that. But you can stream on this because it has the same Turing NVENC encoder on that 1660 Super and 1650 Super that you get on a 3090. They didn't change it for 30 series NVIDIA cards. They didn't. They kept the same one because it's great. It's like an industry standard. So these actually, something like this would make a fantastic second PC if you're a streamer and you already have like an awesome gaming computer. You can get one of this for your capture and streaming PC. 1660 Super will do a great job. 1080p, 60 FPS, nice and crispy. Now moving up, as you go up, you're going to start seeing better specs. Now, as you see this one here, Windows 11 Home, Ryzen 5 5600X with a 6600 XT. That's AMD processor, AMD GPU. If you're just gaming, not streaming, if you're just out there to game, and you don't care about ray tracing, go with this. The 6600 XT will get better frame rates than a 3060. Hands down. Because if you move it up $10, you can get a 3060. Now, if you're trying to stream, 3060 is awesome. But if you're looking at around $1,500, I've recommended this system a million times. Go up 150 if you can to this one right here. That's right, it's the 5600X, and the 3060 Ti. If you wanted to get a system that has a 12600K, which in many benchmarks beats the 5600X, it doesn't matter if something else beats it. That doesn't make this suddenly bad. The 5600X is still a remarkable value in a system like this. Because if you get a 12600K and you want to get the most out of it, you're going to be doing like DDR5. You can go with DDR4, but you have to get a specific motherboard that uses DDR4. You have to choose that, and you cannot later upgrade on that motherboard to DDR5. You have to take out the whole motherboard, put in a new one, which negates any performance gains you got for whatever price. It's even more expensive. That's why I'm hesitating on all this to recommend going with 12th gen. If someone told me, yeah, I've got a 5600X and a 3060 Ti right now, I'm thinking about going 12th gen, I'd be like, no, you're set. You're awesome. It's great. 120 millimeter all-in-one liquid cooler, you'd be better off with a good tower air cooler than this. Get yourself a Vetru V5 or, the Noctua or something that's going to be a little more premium and give you better thermals than just a 120 millimeter AIO, which is not ideal for a 5600X if you game for hours on end. Or get yourself a $70 240 millimeter AIO, like the Cooler Master one. Anyway, so there are a couple upgrades you can do, but that's why this thing is so cheap. But once you get past that point, up to around the $2,000 mark, you start getting into the 5800X with a 3070. That's a killer combo right there. 3070 doesn't represent a huge uplift over the 3060 Ti, but that's because the 3060 Ti is just OP. The thing beats out a 2080 Super, which is way more expensive. Well, let's not talk about price. I've heard here and there, hey, 3060 Ti isn't good for 1440p. Was a 2080 Super good for 1440p? Yeah, it was. And this is more powerful than that. Then you move up to 2249, and then it's 1500X and a 3070 Ti. If you're at that point, you could spend $200 more and get it with a 3080. In a better case with better airflow. $2699 for a 5900X and an RTX 3080. That's $200 more than this. So in this price bracket, from $2,000 to $2,700, there are fantastic same-day ready options. Now, on the Discord, Cuddles posted this great system from CyberPowerPC. So looking at this, I went ahead and looked at that system and made a couple of improvements on it, and I'll show you right now. The original system had a case that was a Corsair case with a solid front panel. It was not the worst airflow that Corsair has on some of their cases. They have some pretty bad ones. But I switched it to, if you're going to go for something that's over $3,000, might as well go with the 011 Dynamic, right? So that's what I did here. And I added in some fans because the 011 Dynamic doesn't come with fans. So I added 6 RGB fans right here, 6 Fantex ones, beautiful fans right there. And I moved it up to the 12900K. Now you could save about $26 going with the 12900KF, but then you lose the integrated graphics. Of course, we're not going to go. I just went with a beefy 360 millimeter AIO because it's only a $20 difference between that and the 240 millimeter that they had there. So there we go, 3080 right here. There you go. They originally had this with a generic 1000 watt power supply. You don't need 1000 watts to run a 3080. You need 750. So I put it on an 850 watt power supply because of the tremendous amount of power that CPU uses. And if you're going to overclock, oh boy, you need that extra headroom, okay? Asus Prime Z690p Wi-Fi, because I wanted to have Wi-Fi on there, and pretty much every board I've seen that is for 12th gen has Wi-Fi 6, which is nice, 2.5 gig LAN. It has 3 M.2 sockets, which is nice because you can put a lot of really quick storage on there. And speaking of quick, we put on 32 gigs of DDR5 4800 megahertz. You got to go with 32 gigs because if you go 16 gigs, it is one stick of 16 gigs, not dual channel memory. And then for the storage, honestly, this is probably the best deal on an SSD here. It is the same price as a 250 gig Western Digital Black, which is a little faster, but only a little bit. And yeah, 1 terabyte is a great amount for your boot drive and your important programs. However, we're not taking advantage of PCIe Gen 4, which if I'm not mistaken, every M.2 socket on that motherboard is Gen 4. But yeah, what we can do is just spend 116 and basically get a 1 terabyte PCIe Gen 4 from MSI, more than double the speed when it comes to read and write speeds. That is up to you. I leave that up to you whether you want to spend that 116 or not, because getting this thing for 45 bucks, really nice. And down here, because I said this thing is going to be great for content creation, streaming, stuff like that, I put a 4 terabyte SATA 3 hard drive. In fact, there was one in there already, but I left it on there. I will link this system in the description. I don't get any credit for it or anything with these guys, but I will say that I did already, for you guys, go all the way to the bottom here, and I clicked the important things. Enhanced packaging, yes, it's already there. Premium warranty, where they cover shipping for you for 20 bucks. Yeah, if in the first year you have a problem, it needs to be shipped to them, they cover it. There you go, there and back. For $19, it's whatever. Let me show you a couple of other options, okay, for Intel 12 Gen systems. Putting this back onto Gen 4 storage is something I'm doing because it's $33.56 for this one. I'm comparing this to one from AVADirect, which you will notice is more expensive, but that's because of certain options that are here that are just not there on CyberPowerPC. You might be interested in that, okay? First off, CyberPowerPC forces you to pay for your operating system right off the bat, whereas with AVADirect, you don't by default get the license for Windows. They'll install it, but they won't activate it unless you ask them to. So, what you would do, it'd be complicated, but you can get a key from my sponsor, CDKDeals, right over it with Windows 10, and then go through the upgrade process to Windows 11. It sounds like a pain in the butt, but it could save you 95 bucks or so. That's money. It's free money. Anyway, but I did upgrade this one from the 1969, and it had a Core i5, but upgraded it to compete with the system from CyberPowerPC. This one has a case I really like, a Fantex Eclipse Series P600S. It looks solid on the front, but there's a panel right there. You take it off. That's when you want it to be a little quieter. Just take off that front panel, and then you have fans right behind it. There you go. And I went with a better motherboard, the Asus Prime Z690A. Now, previously I looked at AVADirect in the last video for a 12600K system. This has a 12900K. Another benefit of going with AVADirect is that you can actually see what kind of GPU you're going to get. Now, NZXT got credit for this before, but they'll have like 5 or 6 options. This is what I call options. A lot of them are delayed shipping, just ignore that. All of these, though, are options for you, and they have them. They're not delayed shipping. So we went with a 3080, but not just any 3080. This is a
EVGA GeForce RTX 3080 for the win 3 Ultra Gaming.
Thank you, me. Yeah, this is pretty much top of the line from EVGA. It's better binned. It's going to have a beefier cooler with the Nito RGB on it. And yeah, these are pretty well sought after. Now, if you want to make this a more budget system, you can go 11600K, drop it to a 3060 Ti, and they have 2 options for that, actually, 3 options for it. And you could do that. It takes about $500 to $600 off the deal, off the price. That means the 3080 is not a great deal, but you have to remember, this is a more expensive version of the 3080. You know what you're getting. That's why it costs more than the CyberPowerPC one, because that one you're going to get on probably a lower end 3080. And then here we went with DDR5, and it was actually a really nice deal here. Only $11 to go from the 4800 megahertz to the 5200 megahertz, but they only have 32 gigs. That's it. At least they're not putting 16 gigs and giving you single channel memory. That would be bad. And we went with an 850 Corsair RM850, 80 plus gold, fully modular. And we went here with what Linus Tech Tips used for their benchmarks, except we used the prettier one. It is a Noctua NH-D15, an absolute legend in air cooling. Plus, they had the Chromax Black. If any air cooler can cool a 12900K, it is this thing. But even then, you'll reach 90C now and again, but it'll just throttle back. This thing is beefy AF. And we went with the same M.2 drive I use, Samsung 1TB 980 Pro. Very fast read speeds and write speeds, and PCIe Gen 4, and that's why. Here, we added the 4TB Western Digital Blue, okay? And that was about $98 for the 4TB. So this is quite a contender here. I like this build a lot, but you can change some of the options to lower the price a bit. There's an AVADirect system. I will link that one as well in the description. Now, let's go back to Xidax, because Xidax, if you want to see pretty much one of the lowest priced 12th gen Intel systems I have found, look at last week's video. That was AVADirect, and it was a 12600K, all right? But this one's a nice build as well. And Xidax has one of those things where they say they give you a lifetime warranty. I haven't looked into the fine details of that, but you got to understand a lifetime warranty is not for your lifetime. It's for the lifetime of the company. So hopefully, Xidax, I wish you prosper. I wish you a prosperous future, and I wish you plenty, because we want those lifetime warranties to last as long as possible. And also, I like your style. But we're looking at the X-6i. X6i. X6i? Anyway, this has a, what they call it a gamma light case. It's a pure base 500DX in white, which is really nice, especially when you pair it up with the right motherboard. They had a motherboard I hadn't seen yet, because obviously I like white builds. So I hadn't seen this one. It is a Z690 Force Wi-Fi from MSI. And boy, it is a looker. Look at that. Oh, it looks good. That looks good. I like it a lot. And this is with a 3060 Ti and a 12600K. There weren't a lot of options on the cooler, but this is a pretty good one. The Deepcool Castle 360EX. This is more than sufficient for a 12600K. Absolutely. And I went with a Gen 4 1 terabyte. There you go. I did not add an additional storage on this because this is more of a just gaming computer. Although I will tell you, this thing could stream. It would stream like nobody's business. I did a few options on here. I put on the premium CPU thermal paste. You can take that off. It's 20 bucks. Yeah, fine. I even spent $40 on the white cables. You could take any of those off and get a better deal. But I did have this system sort of saved and sent to me so I can share it with you guys. It's going to be pretty sweet, and you can change any of those options that you don't like. And yes, 650 watt gold power supply, fine for the 3060 Ti. But you can step it up to the next level if you're worried about power issues with the 12600K. It is not as much of a power hog as the 12900K, obviously. I want to make a shout out right now to El Scorpio on the Discord, and who hangs out in the streams as well, because they brought this system to my attention in the Rigs chat. And so thanks for doing that. This is the Centurion, and it is from AlexanderPCs.com. And Alexander PCs it's a company I haven't really mentioned before, but this one I feel is a good value. Now the reason I say that, this is more expensive than the same day ready system that has a 5600X and a 3060 Ti. So what? It's better. Okay, first off, it doesn't take forever to get this. They're saying orders placed today will have an estimated ship date of November 23rd, 2021. That takes longer, but that's because they're going to build it. And these guys do the same thing as Xidax, where they say that there is a limited lifetime warranty, and they include parts on that. 5600X, 3060 Ti. The case, though, the case is the Lancool 215, and that is a banger of a case. This thing is awesome. Tons of airflow, really nice crisp mesh front panel. But yeah, it's a beautiful system. They really put a lot of thought into the build, and as you can see here, they're also smart because they're like, hey, 3060 Ti is faster than the previous generation 2080 Super. I know, right? That's what I've been saying. The motherboard that they put in there, they put onto that. Asus TUF Gaming B550 Plus, Wi-Fi, all of that, plus PCIe Gen 4 1 terabyte drive. That's not what you get with the same day ready system. You get Gen 3. 2 massive 200mm RGB fans. You know how rare it is to get those? I do, because that's what those are. If you're like, man, those fans are huge. Well, imagine them in a much smaller case. And it makes a pretty big impact when you see that. So, this thing is pretty rad. I've looked at some of their other systems. To me, this seems like the best bang for your buck. But maybe we'll do more talking about Alexander PCs later on. And shout out, guys, if you see this, shoot me an email, briathorn.biz@gmail.com. It's in my About tab. Shout out to El Scorpio. Thanks for the heads up. Appreciate it. Let's go ahead and move on to the comment of the week. And the comment of the week is from someone with an awesome name, Marcus Archibald. Marcus Archibald says, Hey man, I would love a video talking about that awesome looking computer, white, you have in the background. I'm Ron Burgundy. This thing is the one that I built. I mean, do you guys want that? Do you guys want a video on it? But I have featured it in a couple little montages. Like if you watch the video about CDKDeals, the dedicated video, it's in there.
But then you turn it on and you realize something.
Little tiny montage of the inside of it. But yeah, if you guys want that, sure, I can do that. Let me know in the comments below if you want to make a video covering the covering Shadowfax, the Lord of all horses. That's what it's called, Shadowfax. Shout out to my fellow Tolkien nerds out there. Yeah, but hey, thanks for saying that the computer looks awesome. I appreciate the enthusiasm and the inquisitiveness of your question. Thank you. So I wanted to, if you guys, thank you for hanging out to the sort of announcements portion here, but I wanted to share something with you guys. It's official. I'm going full time. Like I'm doing it. I wanted to wait till I reached a certain number of patrons, but I was still on FMLA. That ran out, so I sort of had to make a decision there. And yes, I'm going full time, and it's all because of you guys' support. Thank you so much for your support. It has been amazing. And for my patrons, it's been a little tough in the last couple months making this transition and doing stuff to take care of. I have not kept up with the Patreon content. That's going to change. I'm no longer stressed out about having to return to work because this is work now. And you guys are going to see you're going to see my appreciation for supporting me this whole time. Thank you. I genuinely appreciate it. You get benefits going there, and that there's going to be more and more of that. I'm already working on some behind the scenes videos that I'm going to do for that, short ones, whatnot, but glimpses you don't normally get. Thank you guys for helping me get this far. Thank you to Mr. Cuddles for all of your hard work. This has been quite a journey, but it's also the beginning of a journey. So I genuinely love you guys. Thank you so much, all of you. Now, another thing, for those of you who were interested in the new desk pads I announced a couple of videos back, but don't have that kind of desk that would fit it, these are now available in the store. This is a smaller version, and it's the new mouse pad, for the new actual mouse pad, not desk pad. And these are available at the store RGB, that's RGBEE, store.tech. And yeah, the colors on this thing are beautiful. It's a smaller version of the design that I did, as you can see on the sort of giant background I have there. It's a smaller version of that design, which is becoming a thing. So if you want to see this channel go even farther, do me a favor, jump down there, hit like, jump down there and subscribe if you haven't already. And if you know someone who needs this info, although I was a little wishy-washy in this one, share the video, share the channel. Let them know I'm here just talking about computers straight up. That's what I'm out here to do. So that's going to be it for this episode of System Integrators Weekly. I'll see you guys tonight on stream at 8 p.m. Central, twitch.tv/Brayathorn. But until next Sunday, please, take care.